AIM and OTC listed, Poolbeg Pharma, epic code POLB, is a pioneer of the most advanced scientific practices in researching and developing treatments for infectious diseases, and more recently has developed treatments for other prevalent diseases such as obesity and a companion therapy for cancer treatment. Poolbeg's capital-light development model enables the company to develop multiple products faster and more cost-effectively than conventional biotech companies. I'm joined once again by Chief Executive Jeremy Skillington. He joins us today from Dublin to tell us all. Jeremy, hello. How are you again?
Well, Alan, well, happy to be on.
Good to see you. Good to see you again. So in the intro, I mentioned Poolbeg's capital-light model. Can you provide a practical example of that process in action?
Yeah, happy to do so. You correctly pointed out, we're focused initially on infectious diseases, having spun out of our colleagues at hVivo, just past our 2-year birthday, let's say, from IPO. But we've made
for that.
Thank you. We've made a great deal of progress since. I think we talk about capital light. One of the ultimate goals of Poolbeg is to generate clinical data, human clinical data, which we feel as a company that's focused on partnering is something that gets the attention of pharma. When you have human data, it kind of, I guess, checks a lot of boxes, opens a lot of doors, etc. So we recently completed an LPS challenge study with our lead program, POLB 001. This is we plan to take this into severe influenza and others. But you're putting this in a challenge study. It's a very controlled setting. It's a single site. It's we used in that particular trial, it was 3 different doses. It was run in the Netherlands, so it was all very well contained. And for that, you can kind of keep costs low. Typical clinical trials, they do it in multiple sites, multiple countries, multiple physicians involved, and costs can escalate very quickly. So I think particularly for infectious disease angle, having a single site and keeping the costs low, but importantly, getting the human data that demonstrates the proof of concept. And as we said over the last several months, really happy with the data we've received, and I think there's great potential now for 001 to move forward. So that's on one front. We always kind of said when we IPO'd, we wouldn't spend more than 2 or 3 or 4 million per program. We also recently completed a collaboration with colleagues at Cytoreason looking at artificial intelligence analysis of influenza data. And I think, when you do these things on a collaboration basis, using their expertise, and bringing your data, you keep costs low that way as well. And I think we got a lot of very exciting targets coming from that. So we're very cost conscious because we, as you say, these are challenging times in the market, but we've got a very healthy cash balance and a long runway.
Of course. So we're going to touch on some of the joint ventures that you mentioned just there shortly. But your primary asset, first of all, of course, POLB 001. You've made great progress this year with an expansion into the oncology sector. Test results are confirming it's got the potential to become a blockbuster treatment for severe influenza. And of course, there was a further patent grant by the US Patent and Trademark Office too. What else do you expect for what other progress do you expect this year for this primary asset?
Yeah, it is our crown jewels, you could say. I mean, very excited what's coming behind in the pipeline, but we see great potential. You mentioned or touched upon the oncology aspect. And the one point to make out that some people may be kind of confused. How could you be in the influenza and the oncology space with the same drug? So maybe it's worth explaining. But we're targeting that host response for influenza, which is the immune system going awry. When you get to that severe influenza stages, your immune system is out of control. The virus has triggered it, but your immune system develops a cytokine storm, cytokine release syndrome. And with our POLB 001, it hits a target P38. That's a key driver of that cytokine release syndrome. Now, coincidentally, you could say, you also see these cytokine storms occurring in oncology settings, such as CAR T cell therapy. Now, these are wonderful medicines where they're able to treat various kind of liquid cancers, normally kind of lymphomas, leukemias. But what happens as a side effect, you could say, of the efficacy is you get also the cytokine release syndrome. So you're kind of playing or toying, trying to enhance the immune system. But the negative kind of reaction to that then is you have this cytokine storm. So we believe our drug could play a role there as well. And again, it's talking to physicians, clinicians who work with patients. This is something they're excited about, because this is, as I say, it requires longer stays in hospital for the patients, and again, that puts added burden on the healthcare system. So we see great potential there for that. So we're planning clinical trial activities in that space to generate again that early human proof of concept data to with POLB 001 in the oncology setting. So again, very excited about the direction that's taking.
Super. So of course, you have many other assets or strings to the Poolbeg bow, as it were. So looking at joint ventures and consortiums, there's a consortium with Encovac, which of course includes Antibiotechnologies, received grant funding from the Irish government, and of course you provided an update from Encovac just over a month ago. Can you bring us up to speed on that?
Yeah, it's good. And it kind of reminds me, when you talk about capital light, where we're kind of managing the spend, we can also extend our runway by generating grant revenue. And that's exactly what we did with this program. So again, from the infectious disease angle, we were very interested in collaborating. Anabio have a very exciting encapsulation technology. So you can encapsulate, in this case, kind of antigens and adjuvants that trigger the immune system, and take drugs orally. So that's vaccines, oral vaccines. So we have that as a funding by the Irish government to take that forward to phase 1 ready, so clinical ready. So yes, we recently, as they kind of kicked that off, started the collaboration wonderfully with Anabio, University College Dublin, Trinity College Dublin, and we expect the encapsulation process is going on right now. This is kind of obviously a multi-step process. So we should be able to announce before the end of the year the outcome.
Excellent. And of course, you mentioned the AI collaboration with Cytoreason. Poolbeg recently announced some highly significant outputs and progress in identifying drug targets for treatment of influenza. What are your next steps with the Cytoreason joint venture?
Yeah, no, again, and I will say it was a terrific collaboration. I'm a scientist by training. Scientists kind of build their lives around collaborations. As I mentioned, kind of bringing respective expertise to the table. And we started a collaboration with Cytoreason last year, and taking again this human challenge data that colleagues at hVIVO generated around influenza, 130 influenza volunteers treated with influenza, taking their data, which is essentially was gene expression and protein expression, your viral load data, signs, symptoms, like a whole host of data that would have been quite too much for a lab or an individual to analyze. So Cytoreason came, they applied their artificial intelligence technology to sift through all this data and ultimately identify new and novel targets, drug targets around that drive the influenza disease. So so we just completed that. We've identified several targets that we're keen and interested in pursuing. So that'll be taken to this next stage of validation. And I think what we have in our favor is that one of the benefits of AI is that it kind of decreases the risk. It kind of does the risk analysis almost in silico. So once you take it into the lab, then into humans, you should have a greater probability of success. So looking forward then to taking that to the next step around that validation approach. But fantastic collaboration. Really enjoyed working with our Cytoreason colleagues.
Excellent. So Jeremy, on to you now. I'm going to put you on the spot here. So you joined Poolbeg, of course, after building up Influenza Biotech and selling to Roche Pharmaceuticals for $450 million. We've heard about the latest developments at Poolbeg today. Question to you, what motivates you personally, and also with your track record of success, what personal ambitions do you have?
That's a wonderful question. I mean, that's one for over a cup of coffee and just you can talk for quite a while. Guinness. I was going to say a pint, but I said I'll keep it family friendly. But I mean, we had a terrific story at wonderful success at Influenza. And I think what drives that, the co-founders Matt Cooper and Luke O'Neill, really high quality scientists themselves. The ultimate goal was always to make an impact on patients. So for the likes of the Influenza programs, we were looking, Parkinson's was one indication we were looking at, and the ultimate goal of scientists, I think, of people in biotech, in pharma, is to get your drugs to patients, to help people. I think that's what drives us the most. I think there are parallels between Influenza and Poolbeg, one of which is that for Influenza, we generated early human clinical data that was to Roche's liking. So then they wanted to partner with us and acquire the company was probably the more straightforward approach. And I think then this is where pharma comes in. They take that forward then into their clinical pipeline, and their expertise is in clinical development and ultimately commercialization. So it's kind of a win-win for both sides, So I see the same for Poolbeg, the fact that we're getting that early human clinical data, working in influenza, oncology, different areas. You mentioned, diabetes, obesity. So we have a nice pipeline of programs where we can impact many, many millions of patients ultimately. So I'm a scientist by training, as I say, I love understanding the biology, underpinning healthy people. And then when it goes wrong, you're understanding the biology of disease. And then you try and come up with methods to correct that disease. And ultimately, it is helping people what the driver is. And I think we've done, as I say, we've just passed our 2-year birthday anniversary, whichever way you want to call it, at Poolbeg. Terrific progress. But we realize there's a lot more to do. There's a lot we can do. And as I say, the team is working very hard to drive forward on all of our programs on all fronts. And, it is, is what gets you out of bed in the morning. There's a lot of adrenaline, within the company to drive things forward. But as I say, ultimately, helping people, because as we all get older, we're always going to come down with some kinds of infirmities. So maybe it's a little bit self-protective, like as I get older myself, that there'll be medicines out there to benefit. But as I say, that's the key driver for me, and I'm very excited about the work we do at Poolbeg.
Excellent. Well, we're running a bit short on time, Jeremy. Just can you summarize in the near term what Poolbeg investors can look forward to really for the rest of 2023 and beyond?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, as I said, we're kind of moving forward on all fronts. We touched upon a lot of them there. 001 pushing that directly into the oncology settings. Doing the preparation work there. The preparation work for our oral GLP-1 program, which again, as we know, is a very large market, has potential to play a role in both diabetes and obesity and beyond. And moving forward, the AI collaboration outputs from that. We're also looking at RSV work. And ultimately, we've always said from the start, like one of the core spokes or principles of Poolbeg is on the partnering side. So obviously discussions ongoing with pharma around not just one, but several of our programs, and ultimately getting deals across the line as well. It will be the ultimate test of the company, and we kind of appreciate that. So we're working hard in that direction as well. As I say, we're very happy with the data we've generated, and obviously discussions with pharma. We expect them to be happy as well. So we see great potential for Poolbeg to actually put our products in pharma's pipeline for them then to develop. And ultimately from that's how we generate our revenue from these partnering transactions. So again, very exciting initial 2 years, and looking forward to many years to come.
Excellent. Well, exciting times indeed for Poolbeg and its shareholders. Jeremy, it's been great talking to you. Jeremy Skillington, Chief Executive of Poolbeg Pharma. Many thanks for joining us today.
Thank you too, Alan. Take care.